Journal case. Lawyers are seeking to depose Rupert Murdoch, pardon me. Can you say what the lawyers hope to get out of that?
No, we're going to see. It's in the lawyers' hands. I've been treated very unfairly by the Wall Street Journal and everything. I mean, I don't know. They even hired people from the Washington Post, third-rate reporters, gossip-type reporters. It's all gossip. And, you know, I've been treated badly by the Wall Street Journal. I would have assumed that Rupert Murdoch controls it, but, you know, maybe does, maybe doesn't. They are talking to us about doing something, but we'll see what happens. Maybe they would like us to drop that. And so we'll see.
Does that mean they're settling us?
Yeah, they want to settle it.
With money involved?
It's treated us wrong. I mean, you know, when I get treated unfairly, I do things about it. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, God.
This is Donald Trump's phone number in Jeffrey Epstein's personal little black book from the 1990s. In 2021, Business Insider obtained an address book no one had ever seen before.
Jeffrey Epstein got away with what he got away with because of who was in his address book.
What's interesting for us about this book is a new cast of characters who we didn't previously know had interactions with or did business with him.
While the Trump administration says it won't disclose more files on Epstein, the older address book reminds us of Epstein's vast connections to prominent figures, including Melania Trump's best friend, Christopher Cuomo's wife, and an advisor in the first Trump administration.
Our first thought was to just do whatever we could to verify that it was real. We've obtained a copy of an address book that we believe belonged to Jeffrey Epstein, and your name and contact information are listed in the book.
Hello?
I'm a reporter for Insider. I'm just calling everybody who's in this address book who has not previously been publicly associated with Jeffrey Epstein.
That's crazy. Bro, you get a call like that, you're like, nope, wrong number. I don't know who the fuck you're talking about.
Epstein.
We need to make sure it was a real artifact that really represented something about Jeffrey Epstein and his connections to people.
The story is not one that sounds exactly believable. Someone dropped Jeffrey Epstein's address book in the 90s and now belongs to some guy who lives on a farm in Vermont.
Yeah, I'm hitting that no habla inglés.
I'm very careful not to put my fingerprints on the book, not to put any sort of DNA or hair or anything like that. My name is Christopher Halali. Where should I look? I currently live on my wife's farm. As a student of national security issues, imperialism, I was fascinated by the Jeffrey Epstein case. There are names that are highlighted, and I think one of the most notable highlighted names is former President Donald Trump.
My name is Denise Ondeko, ta-da! And I believe I found the book sometime in the 90s. Walking along Fifth Avenue, and I just noticed a small black book on the sidewalk.
So you're pretty sure that it was somewhere between 54?
Yes, it could have been here or there.
We have spoken extensively with Denise, and we found her story to be credible.
I saw the book, picked it up, glanced through it. Damn. It was filled with names like Kennedy, Rockefeller, Trump, etc. And it was like, whoa, this is bizarre. So I kept it for the New York City artifact that it was.
Did you know who Jeffrey Epstein was at the time?
No. When I rediscovered the book last year, it was like, holy, it's Jeffrey Epstein.
A Manhattan billionaire arrested yesterday on federal sex trafficking.
I think it's a little crazy that someone seemingly dropped it, but who knows? It's a bit suspicious, but
charges.
Accusations from indecent exposure to inappropriate touching to rape.
I went to tips at New York Times. I sent something to Rachel Maddow. I just figured nobody was interested. Come the end of November, I really needed brakes for my car and I didn't have enough money. And I thought, what the hell? You, Jeffrey Epstein, you paid for my breaks. So I put it on eBay.
It was right there for everybody to see. Most people would think it's a fake or a forgery. I took the risk. When I received the book in the mail, my heart was nearly jumping out of my chest. I felt like Indiana Jones. It's a dark book. It's a book that I think has a lot of suffering behind it, a lot of pain, a lot of evil, some would say. I felt that it was important for people to see who Epstein knew and what sort of network of power was behind him.
This is a little bit of an odd cat, a little bit of an odd fellow. Isn't he is he the ACP guy? I feel like I know his name. I feel like I've heard his name before. Halali is a Vermont social studies teacher. Halali, a Vermont social studies teacher who ran unsuccessfully for Congress as a member of the Communist Party in 2020, now serves as the American Communist Party's international secretary. Yeah.
Right now I'm packaging the book for forensic analysis and handing it off to a team of journalists. If it comes back and it's not authentic, it's a pretty awesome forgery, I have to say.
One of the moments in the public waking up to the magnitude of his crimes was the publication in 2015 of an address book belonging to Jeffrey Epstein. And what was stunning about it was it contained the names of Donald Trump and Mick Jagger, Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton. And it sort of woke people up to the fact that this was a guy who had access to the halls of power.
Our reporting also found about 220 new names that didn't appear in this other address book.
If someone were to concoct a fake book to trick journalists, they would start by taking those names from the other public little black book and putting them in this one. So we start by sort of correlating the names, and then we just started calling people in the book whose names have not been previously associated with Jeffrey Epstein.
Hello?
Hi, I'm trying to reach Elena Kayem.
This is she?
Hi, I'm calling for Suzanne Urcha. Would you be able to connect me with her?
For who?
I'm trying to reach Joan Severance.
We don't currently represent Joan. The number you dialed is not in service.
I'm trying to reach Michael Cutlip.
This is he?
Elena Barmakova.
Who's calling? I'm working on a story about an address book
That we believe belonged to Jeffrey Epstein.
Do you mind if I'm recording this call?
I do mind.
Okay, give me 1 second.
I haven't seen or spoken to Jeffrey since the late 90s.
For them to say, yes, I knew him in the 90s, gives credence to the idea that the book is real.
It's not the case that everybody who was in his address book was an enabler of Jeffrey Epstein. It's more adding to the body of knowledge to keep chipping away at the mystery.
She was not interested in speaking.
These are some of the
why.
prominent names we reached out to. None of them had ever been publicly associated with Epstein before.
Suzanne Urcha, Melania Trump's best friend. She later married Woody Johnson, who now owns the New York Jets.
Carl Icahn, special advisor to Donald Trump during his presidency.
Christina Grieven, the wife of Christopher Cuomo.
Jill Harth accused Donald Trump of sexual assault.
Stephen Ratner led Barack Obama's efforts to resuscitate Detroit.
Marty Peretz, longtime mentor to former Vice President Al Gore. Les Gelb was a legendary New York Times columnist. Sandy Warner was the chairman and CEO of JP Morgan until 2000. Billionaire John Katzimatidis, who told us that he offered Epstein a ride and Epstein sent him a 3-foot bottle of champagne and thanks. And this just goes to show that in the 1990s, he was sort of cultivating a much larger orbit that we can see evidence later on.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
We also engaged the services of a forensic examiner who's familiar with authenticating documents.
I was cautious because I didn't want to cross over into an area that the FBI was investigating. My name is Dennis Ryan, and I'm a forensic document examiner. I'm confident that the book is probably circa 1995 to 2000. One of the factors was the Gestetner imprint that's on the Velo bind. Their organization was certainly out of production by 1998 to 2000. It would be very difficult to make up a book with that imprint. The most important thing is the change in the area code.
So here's Donald Trump's entry in the 1990s address book. You can see that his Palm Beach phone numbers feature a 407 area code. Now, if we look at Trump's entry in the address book from the early 2000s, you can see that he has the same phone numbers listed for Palm Beach, but with a different area code, 561, and that area code was introduced in 1996. Jeffrey Epstein is still such a mystery. Over a year after he's died,
Accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein is dead.
Jeffrey Epstein's attorneys questioning whether his death was a suicide.
I think my biggest takeaway is that Epstein had an extremely large sphere of influence, and we're not even sure about the true extent of it.
I think this book elaborates on that in a different era, a different time, and with some different people that we didn't know were a part of that circle that eventually became a part of the reason that Jeffrey Epstein could get away with raping and abusing women and girls. And I think it's important to keep in mind how power is able to avoid accountability. And the more we can remember what Epstein's actions represent, the more we can prevent people from escaping accountability now and in the future.
What a weird turn of events, how serendipitous the whole thing is played out. Unbelievable. I just remember having that thought, should I keep this? If it was a heavy something or other, I probably would have tossed it.
I think it's an interesting story, you know. One book with the FBI, one book on the farm. It's fascinating.
Business Insider reposted this exact video that they released 4 years ago. I seriously question their integrity if they had this book all this time and haven't talked about it for years and have not done any digging. You question the integrity of Business Insider? Yeah, no shit, dude. By the way, there's more on the Trump train. Breaking news, FBI has a version of the surveillance video filmed near Jeffrey Epstein's prison block on the night of his death that, unlike the version released to the public, is not missing a minute of footage, even though they originally said it was. Wasn't the explanation that the video equipment is old and resets every night, so no footage exists of that missing minute? Also, there was more time missing in the released video per Wired. CBS is claiming that the released video is likely a screen capture that was sped up for some reason, offering one explanation for the gap in time.
Definitively.
Here is Pam Bondi saying the minute doesn't exist.
On that, and the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And
like, I don't care about this missing minute that much. I don't think it's like the big fucking the big revelation will come from this missing minute. It could be a number of different reasons. It's just like, but as is the case with everything else, their response invites more curiosity. Their response invites additional scrutiny because they respond in a really weird, uncharacteristic way if you are innocent. Their response is the response of a guilty man. So much so that it has actually made me reconsider my original stance of like, maybe Donald Trump is not that involved with Jeffrey Epstein post 2003. Do you see what I mean?
What we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every year, every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
Mr. President,
back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video.
None of this makes sense. Are the cameras operating on different security systems? Why does one reset, the other one doesn't? And why do people who work in the field say this isn't a common feature? From the Daily Beast article. Yeah, it's just like a very weird, very strange way to deal with this. And it's making me think that they're more guilty than I previously assumed they were. There's also this side of the story. Real Donald Trump says he ended his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein because the pedophile stole underage victim Virginia Giuffre from his Mar-a-Lago spa. This is audio only from the White House, or not from the White House, but like it was released because he was on Air Force One, where Trump says people were taken out of the spa hired by Epstein. I told him, we don't want you taking our people, whether it's spa or not spa. He did it again. I said, out of here. Was one of the stolen people Virginia Giuffre? I think so. He stole her.
Mr. President, Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously. But just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
Were some of them
young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young women?
What did they do?
In the spa.
In the spa?
Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people would take.
Bro, you're talking about one of the most notorious sex trafficking victims that was literally trafficked out of Mar-a-Lago as a minor. What are you saying, man? Like, he's incapable, dude. Look at it. I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
What did they do?
In the spa.
In the spa?
Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas.
I had one of the best spas. Some of the best miners working at the spa. Jeffrey Epstein liked it so much because they were the best miners working at the spa. That's right. No other spa has miners like mine. Believe it. Believe it. Are we sure it's not a deep fake? No.
Spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago, and people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told them, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want them taking people. And
dude. What's so insane about this is, bro, this isn't in 1997 or in 2003. This is in 2025. Why are you still saying it like that? Like, it's crazy. Motherfucker, it is July 29th, 2025. Jeffrey Epstein's been dead since 2019. And you're literally still acting like you're mad that he stole your clients. Or not your clients, sorry. Stole your work staff. Like, what do you mean? Dog, the people that you're talking about were sex trafficked underage by Jeffrey Epstein. How is that your number one gripe? Also, yeah, why were minors working in this like high-end spa, supposedly the best spa? That's already weird, man. And he's like, those were the best minors. Those were the best minors. Nobody else has got minors like me at my spa. Like, that's what you're mad about? Jeffrey Epstein was out competing you? Here, it's not AI. Look.
Has a certain reputation, obviously. Just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
With some of them.
Were some of them young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young.
Yeah.
What did they do?
In the spa.
Jobs.
In the spa.
Yeah, it's people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people.
Dog, they weren't hired by him. They were sex trafficked. Like, again, we know this. We know this because of the 2008 conviction, which includes one of the most famous victims, Virginia Giuffre, that was trafficked out of Mar-a-Lago. He didn't hire people from your spa. I don't know why those people were working at the spa to begin with. But he didn't like steal those employees from you. He sex trafficked them. He groomed and sex trafficked them. Very strange way to complain about this thing. Truly shocking, even for Trump. Even by Trump standards, this is a shocking way to talk about this. Because his defense is exactly like saying Jeffrey Dahmer stole my lunch. Yeah. I was going to eat my own parents, and then Jeffrey Dahmer stole my mother and ate her instead. I was going to do it. My mother gone.
From the spa, I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told him, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people. And he was fine. And then not too long after that, he did it again. And I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons, that include Virginia Giuffre?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah, he stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know.
Yeah, she's dead, man. She died recently. Also, she was a child. She was literally a child, a little child. She was 16 years old. What the hell is happening? Actually insane. Anyway. I don't understand why Donald Trump finds a way to fucking incriminate himself every single time. Like, anytime he tries to talk about this situation, he just like further incriminates himself. He comes across so fucking weird. Anyway, let's move on from that to Sydney Sweeney's Jeans campaign, which created major backlash. Okay, I